This is Anthony John Agnello, Senior Social Editor at GamesRadar. We all have to start somewhere, whether it's the original NES or even the Nintendo Switch. The release of new gaming hardware is a guarantee that there are going to be some profoundly weird games to go along with it. That's the nature of launch games. They represent uncharted territory, so inevitably they're going to be pretty freaky. Much like these, the 6 weirdest launch games of all time. 1-2 Switch for Nintendo Switch. Nintendo always makes a launch game to demonstrate what makes the new console special. N64 had Mario 64 to show off the analog controller. Wii had Wii Sports' whimsical motion control showcase. Nintendo Switch has 1-2 Switch, which eerily recreates the sensation of milking a cow while making direct eye contact with another human being. Perfect. That'll sell the system right there. Metal Gear Acid for PSP. When you think of Metal Gear, you inevitably think of sneaking into a military base, bizarre enemies, a complex array of weaponry, and helping Solid Snake do battle with a customizable deck of cards. Right? Right? Yeah, turning Metal Gear into a collectible card game was a weird choice on PSP, but it worked pretty well, all things considered. If only it had a card that just said, SNAKE! Feel the Magic XY XX for Nintendo DS. It's hard to imagine in the post-smartphone world, but Nintendo DS's touchscreen was positively bizarre back in 2004. No one knew how the hell to make a touch-based game at all, as evidenced by Feel the Magic. It's a minigame collection about 2 people starting to date and fall in love. They look like weird escapees from 60s pop art posters, and you have to flick fish out of their stomachs using the touchscreen, because that's where live fish go, into the stomachs of young lovers. Face Raiders for Nintendo 3DS. The Nintendo 3DS, meanwhile, felt less strange than the DS did at first. A 2-screened handheld with a touchpad and a camera and all the works? Got it. Makes sense. Making a shooter where you take pictures of your friends' faces so you can shoot balloons coated in their horrific digitized mugs, however, is not the most obvious choice. Face Raiders is fun for a few minutes, actually. Just don't describe it out loud to your grandparents. Street Fighter the Movie for PlayStation. The PlayStation had a steep hill to climb back when it came out. The world was curious about 3D video games, but a usurper challenging Sega and Nintendo? Good luck with that, Sony. May you fare better than the TurboGrafx 16. PlayStation went on to become one of the best-selling consoles in history, but games like Street Fighter the Movie did it no favors at the start. When trying to convince people to buy your new system, right during the height of Street Fighter's popularity, maybe don't release an awkward, ugly version of the game starring a digitized Jean-Claude Van Damme. Just a thought. Pen Trisalon for Dreamcast. Racing games are a console launch staple. Fancy cars are an easy way to show off your machine's graphical prowess. The Dreamcast launch lineup had a racing game that showed off its graphical prowess with psychedelic, warped penguin monsters. We're not saying Dreamcast failed because it went with Pen Trisalon for its racing choice instead of, Sega Rally or Daytona. But, no, those penguins are horrifying, man. God, they did not help the Dreamcast. If you enjoyed this feature and want more like it, follow GamesRadar at youtube.com/GamesRadar.